Good morning. Somebody last week, after watching my video on Sirsasana, asked me what to do if the head wasn't used to going down in that position. So I said I would post something this week about it. Then I went away and I had a think about it, and there were questions that came to myself from that question. The questions that came to myself were, was that because for that particular person or for others, what is interesting is the effect of the peace of mind and rooting and quietening that comes from Sirsasana, but their practice is still quite a long way away from being able to perform that particular asana. And in that case, how to bring that effect without teaching the preliminaries necessarily, or was the question the technicalities on how does one get to Sirsasana, in which case there is a precise, in the Iyengar system, there is a precise kind of route, which is Uttanasana, Adho, mukha, svanasana, Prasarita, padottanasana, shoulder balance, Sirsasana, and they all take time and method. So I'm going to show how to quieten the mind in ways that involve allowing the head to have some support and start to get used to that route without necessarily going in details about the poses that are the preliminary of Sirsasana technicalities, because that's a completely different class. So that's my choice, because this might make it accessible to more people at this point in time where it might be what it's needed the most. Okay, so what we're going to use is a chair, which everyone should have at home, and I am using 3 blankets, which again most people should have at home, or if not, they could have 1 blanket and a couple of pillows handy. So I'll just start and get the chair. And then I'm placing the blanket on the chair. Now here we're going into a variation of Uttanasana. So the feet are apart in steps parallel. We're lifting the thighs and bending from the hips and coming to rest the forehead. Now here we catch the arms and then we settle. For the mind to be quiet, we want the neck here to soften and to go down. And another detail that we can add is to actually place the forehead in a way that the skin is encouraged towards the eyes rather than up towards the wall. So when you're placing your head, you want to encourage the skin to move towards your eyes without pushing the eyebrows on the eyelids. And then lifting the thighs, releasing the muscles of the neck. We stay listening to the breath. Now, this is really good to open the airways. This is a very good way to open the airways. And you can increase the height or diminish the height as much as you need to be able to feel the softening of the muscles of the neck. So that's the first variation. Then, the second variation is Adho Mukha Svanasana, dog pose. And for this particular purpose, I'm going to show you in both directions so that you see what I mean. We're going to have the head again supported, but in order to be able to hold it, if you are not used to holding it, I'm going to ask you to do a couple of things. Use the wall. Have your heels pressing into the wall high. And so here, I'm going to move the chair. I tend to start with a blanket underneath my belly. Then, I'm able to adjust them further forwards or further back. So I'm going to go up the wall with the heels really high. I'm going to be on the ball of my toes with my knees bent to be able to lift my hips sky high. Then I'm going to move the blanket so that my head can rest on them. If keeping the hands straight, it's not a possibility yet, the arms straight, then you can catch the sides of your mat and press into your wrists, but that way you allow your neck to lengthen and the head to quieten and be light. If you're more experienced, then you straighten your legs and you stay in the pose. The third variation, the third pose is Prasarita padottanasana. Again, Prasarita padottanasana, if you are new to this, there are different degrees, different ways of approaching it. It's a pose with the legs really wide, about 4 feet wide. And the first part of the pose involves, and here I'm going to use my brakes, involves lengthening the trunk and making the upper back concave and looking up. And so here it's an important stage because again you're opening your airways, so we really don't want to go low if we feel that then we cannot extend this part and we close here. So we need the height. You'll see that I'm putting my hands with my fist this way, and this is because I don't have a ligament in my wrist, and therefore I cannot do 90 degrees like that with the weight on my hand. So this variation of the hands will be good for people with osteoarthritis of the wrist, ligament problems, or issues with the wrist generally, where you need to keep the joint in neutral, not to stress any further the little bones that make your wrist. So here we sharpen the outer edges of the feet, we lift our thighs, and then without allowing our tailbone to flare out, we keep it slightly lengthening that way. We lift up the head, breathe, and learn this stage. Then, with the out breath, we take our hands between our feet, we take the outer upper arms in and lift the shoulders, and we allow the neck to feel long, light. The head is not pressing, it's lightly touching the ground. And we stay. So it's not that, yeah? There's a lot of this movement and outer upper arms rolling in. So the neck is completely free. The head is very quiet and light. Again, to come out. And we come back. For a lot of people, this pose takes years to master because of all sorts of challenges. So
the first stage, if you want to start to approach this pose with the intent of quietening the mind, but you're unable to place the hands between the feet and let your neck be vertical because your hamstrings are very, very tight, then the variation you can do is actually going forwards with your hands and allowing your head to rest this way. If you find that you can start to do the concave part and then place the hands between the feet here and do this stage, but your head is nowhere near the ground, then you go back to your blanket and you go back to the action of palms open, wide open, outer upper arms rolling in, shoulders lifting. You can see that here I can keep my hand flat, and that is because I'm not loading it. The shoulders are lifted, my hands are light, my head is light. And you can stay for a long time. When you stay, you want to feel that you're inhaling, lifting, especially lifting and creating space at the very top of the thighs. And when you're exhaling, you're allowing your trunk to descend. You're really allowing gravity to do its job. No creases in the face, quietening, quietening, quietening. So these are really the preliminaries to learn before starting to go into Sirsasana. They take a long time, they take practice, and they take a teacher supervising so that they can see what's happening and that you're not loading in the wrong places. But this might be something to get you started. Remember, you can just send me questions or contact me for more information, and there is my email at the bottom of the YouTube channel, I think. Okay, so this is it for today. This is in particular for Linda.